welcome to day 2 of E3 2018. I'm Alex Nestor, and I'm joined by the rest of the Viewport team, Albert Corsten.
Skyrim everywhere.
And Tristan Jung.
Hey.
Yeah, so we're here to provide some wrap-up coverage on all the press conferences during the event, and we'll be uploading a video pretty shortly afterwards with our opinions on each day. So today we saw the big three, or the first of the big three, Microsoft, Bethesda, and then also Bethesda and Devolver Digital. We have a lot to cover due to just how many things Microsoft ended up showing off on stage. They basically didn't talk about anything. They just went from trailer to trailer. Then we also have some big news from Bethesda and some maybe portents of what we'll see from them in the future. And then Devolver was a very short but sweet foray into what they've got on the table. So let's get right into it, I think. One of the first things we wanted to cover is, I believe Bandai Namco showed off a new fighting game that they got going on. It appears to be based on the Shonen Jump manga series publication that they've got out in Japan. We see set pieces from One Piece, Naruto, and of course Dragon Ball Z is going to be there. We see Naruto, Goku, and Luffy.
Frieza, right?
Light Yagami at the end.
Yeah, and then of course a little cameo by Death Note with Light Yagami and Ryuku. But yeah, so what do you guys think of what we initially saw there?
Alright, so I don't watch a bunch. I know like the characters from DBZ and I know the characters from One Piece, but I'm more hyped in this because of the potential of the characters that they can bring in and how old or how, like, they had a stream after and they talked about, hey, what characters you bring in? The director's like, can't tell you guys now. And I was like, okay, that always makes sense. Because the characters for a fighting game is pretty much the reveals for the game, so.
They get all the fan hype going on. That's the big thing.
Exactly, yeah. And we don't know how far this game is off, so they might even not be that far with the characters.
Mm-hmm.
But what I wanted to think is how far will they go, right? So are they going to include current like shonen games? I know there's a Boku no Hero Academia game coming out, but would they put characters from that game in it? Would they put characters from, I don't know, like Saitama from One Punch Man or something in it? That would be cool. Saitama and Genos.
Yeah, I would expect they could definitely tap into those since they've been really popular anime. Of course, it could go back to things like Gintoki from Gintama, things like that. I'd really love to see just kind of a curveball and like Yugi Moto from Yu-Gi-Oh! Just put him in there. Kaiba, who cares? Just do it.
And then you could say, my team has no bad players.
Exactly. But yeah, I guess we don't know much premise to this game yet other than all these shonen anime characters are being brought into the real world and they're fighting for humanity's survival or something. You know, typical anime plot that's kind of this crossover collaboration thing.
This isn't the first type of these games, but no one had heard of all the leaks this year. There's been so many leaks and so many reveals. It feels like half of E3 was already done before E3, which is fine, but this just came out of left field. No one knew this was coming.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was awesome.
Definitely. And it looks pretty sweet graphically, and it reminded me kind of Pokken just from the gameplay they did show, but it's got a cool, I guess, cross-tag battle kind of thing going on, where you have 3v3 fighters. One health bar, which is really interesting to me, so we'll see how that plays out once they start showing more, but pretty excited for that title. It looks decent. I'll keep an eye on it. Tristan, you got anything to say about this?
I think you guys covered most of it. The only anime I really watch is Glass Slip, and I don't think those characters going to be in this game, so...
Yeah, I think that might be a little too underground for this.
Yeah, so...
And bad.
I'll let you guys play this when it comes out.
But, yeah. So the next one's a big one for me. Devil May Cry 5. Hideaki's been just shooting out teasing about this game for years now. And finally, we see footage of it on stage, and I really liked it. We got to see, of course, the protagonist from Devil May Cry 4. I didn't think he'd show back up again, but Nero's I guess taking the head honcho role from Dante again. I imagine they could do something similar to Devil May Cry 4, where about half the game's him, then half's Dante, but who knows? But, for whatever reason, someone cut off Nero's arm. Now he doesn't have the Devil Bringer. He has some sort of new, augmented bionic arm that seems to have the same functionality, so we saw very little in terms of actual gameplay, but it seems that a lot of the same moves Nero had in Devil May Cry 4 have translated over to this game.
I'm still kind of confused. So it seemed to show new Dante, but it's like part of the old series? Is that what's going on?
So the character that was in the van is actually Nero, but he had a haircut. And yeah, when I first saw him, I was scared out of my mind that it was Ninja Theory sequel to Devil May Cry or DMC. So yeah, I was terrified when I saw that. But then it turns out you look at his sword as well as his gun, and then also the bionic arm starts making a lot more sense if you know the lore of Devil May Cry 4.
I see. So Dante did not even show up.
The only way it could have been Dante is the motorcyclist man at the very end. But he looked very old, so I'm not thinking it's Dante, but maybe
Nanomachines.
Yeah, Nanomachines, son. It could be placed in the future, who knows? So we'll see more about that, I imagine. That game is slated for spring 2019, so we're going to be waiting a while on that one.
What did you guys think of how it looked? Just going from how long ago it's been since we've had Devil May Cry 4 to go into this one, it looked really good.
Right, it's a massive leap graphically, and yeah, it looks spectacular. It looks, I hate to say it almost looks as good as Final Fantasy 15 in some ways, to my eyes. But, you know, CG's probably not as high quality as what the 15 team was able to accomplish, but in-game engine, it looks beautiful. So I think this was another one that came out of left field we had, and I know that Albert and Tristan are excited for this one. We had some Cuphead DLC announced, The Delicious Last Course. I'll let you guys take over this one.
I love Cuphead. I reviewed it, and I loved every moment of playing it. And I think at some point they said they're not going to put out DLC, and I was really, really disappointed. So I was really shocked when they put the trailer out today. New characters, new island. Island are kind of the worlds in that game. So there's gonna be probably like 6 to 8 new bosses, new weapons, new charms. I just hope it's not too expensive, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna pick it up anyways.
Yeah, same. It's more of the same game, right? We all loved it. And just with the uniqueness of the art style and the music of this game, just more of it's good.
Yeah, it just feels good to see the game, honestly.
Give me that delicious last course.
I'm just surprised that it's coming out so soon, just because the base game took so long to make due to their animation style, so...
It's a weird thing, right? We're like, so soon, but if it comes out late next year, it'll be almost 2 years since the original release. But for how much work it takes to animate these things, it's crazy.
Yeah, I just hope it's not like they just dig up unused stuff.
Yeah, cut content. Yeah, maybe. That could probably be some of it, but I imagine a lot of this was created for specifically for this new DLC, so... Yeah, that'll be another one we'll expect sometime in 2019, I guess.
So Chef Saltbaker is he gonna be like the enemy?
I don't know. I did some research. I rewatched the trailer. They didn't go into like what he actually does. I'm assuming he takes over King Dice's role, and he's like the main antagonist.
Okay.
Yeah, going from the name alone, I'd say that's probably a pretty good bet. So the next one, we got kind of baited a little bit. They showed a Gears Funko Pop mobile game at first, and then I just instantly thought that was going to be it, and they're just going to leave it at that and just leave us out in the cold, but nope. They at least, thankfully, let out the next Gears of War title, which I guess is just now going to be titled Gears 5. We got a pretty good amount of cutscene and gameplay. I guess the new main character is a female, who's from the previous games. Kate, I believe her name is.
Kate Diaz.
Yeah, so she's got this fight with the Locust as normal, but also a fight within herself, I guess the tagline was.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of internal struggle we'll expect from Gears games, but...
Where did she get the badge?
Where did she get that medal? It's apparently very important, but...
But that's a Locust sign.
I'm sure someone who knows the lore a lot better than I do can explain it, but going beyond that, we saw some gameplay, and I think it's about what you'd expect of a Gears title. Looked perhaps maybe it's a bit faster paced than what we've seen in previous titles. Seemed like a lot less cover-based shooting to me. What do you guys think? I was
going to say the same thing. Yeah, looks a little more action-oriented.
It seems very horror survival from what I can, feel from the trailer. A lot of like closed off spaces. The monsters look really weird. I also noticed that there was no crosshair in the shooting. I don't know if this was just a quote unquote cinematic choice, but maybe that's a setting that they added in. But overall, it does seem a lot faster paced, and all the characters look to be very light as well. I know Gears usually have like really heavy characters, especially like Marcus Phoenix.
What do you mean by heavy or light? Do you mean literally the physical size of them, or like their impact on the story, or
like their kind of mass in the physics engine, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mean like physically?
I definitely agree with that. Thinking of Gears 1 and Gears 2, it felt like the characters are like much more massive and muscular, things like that. I noticed in this latest trailer, they seemed a bit more toned down. Kind of the Resident Evil 5 to Resident Evil 6 Chris treatment, I think. But, yeah, that looks alright, and I think the gameplay might be a decent shift kind of away from that methodical cover-based shooting that they had in the first couple games. That was probably considered pretty slow nowadays. Well, then they almost ended the conference, but of course they did a little skit.
Wait, can I
sure.
Can I interlude?
Yeah.
That Gears XCOM game, I want to give that a shot. That seems
I forgot
interesting.
about that. Yeah.
It's just Gears related, but they said it's going to be a little more fast-paced than a normal XCOM strategy game. And I think they said it's only coming out for PC as well, so I'm surprised they're going down this strange route of taking it down a strategy game genre, but seems like it's worth a shot, at least. We haven't seen much. We saw maybe 30 seconds of gameplay, but I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Yeah, they didn't reveal a whole lot, but it seemed like they were doing like larger packs of monsters, so it might be a bit more action-oriented than XCOM typically is.
Yeah, where it's like slow, okay, all my team shoot this one guy, alright, next turn, shoot this guy.
Right, exactly. But yeah, Gears Tactics, definitely something to look out for. So the final thing we had at the Xbox conference, and probably the biggest one everyone's looking forward to, it was Cyberpunk 2077. We got another cinematic trailer, I guess, of in-game footage, but no gameplay to speak of, but we got a little bit more of the lore, typical dystopian / I guess...
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, basically, you got your new protagonist in his Knight Rider-esque car and everything. People are shooting people, they got augments. Yeah, still something we're looking forward to, but I don't know. This trailer didn't actually do much for me. What do you guys think? I don't know. It just didn't give us any really new info.
Alright, I think we gotta preface it with, we don't know how far off this game still is.
Right. They're still going with the tagline, it's gonna be out when it's ready.
Yes. I think this was something for the fans, and show everyone's... we didn't have any idea how it was gonna look, right? Because the one that came out many, many years ago was completely cinematic, not in-game. Now we know, hey, this is in-game engine rendering, whatever you want to call it. We talked about this earlier, but I think this is hopefully aiming for a 2020 release date. But I think it was just cool to see they're embracing these... I haven't read the books, but they're embracing the Cyberpunk universe, and by that I mean there's crime, there's violence, there's big mega corporations. There's weird intrigue. Like there was the scene with an airplane and the guy's like eyeball was exploding, and then there was the scene where it was at a conference boardroom of some sort, and the guy was dying at his chair.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where this game is going to go. They talked about the main character's name's V. He's some sort of guy who does contract work, and he's starting out on his first contract. Whether that's legitimate or non-legitimate, or not a lot, but illegitimate, as in legal or illegal activity, we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It would be cool if they let you choose kind of how you want to take that.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm curious just how much they'll let you augment yourself. If you can augment yourself so much that, like in the, I guess, pen and paper style game, you can go insane from having too many augments. So I
that kind of happened in Deus Ex a little bit.
It did, yeah, with the black market mods, they kind of did that in Mankind Divided. So I would expect a similar mechanic, but of course we'll see what CD Projekt Red does. And yeah, I'm still really excited for the title, but we just haven't seen a whole lot yet to really say much more.
Another thing to bring up is one thing I was hyped for when I heard about it, but we didn't get any indication of it, is there would be different people in the city would speak different languages, and you could buy language translator mods, so you could be able to understand or read the different languages. But if you already spoke those languages in real life, you could, I mean, obviously you don't need it, right? You speak the language. But I didn't have any indication of, hey, this is kind of a giant cultural melting pot sort of thing. It was, hey, this is Night City, one of the crappiest cities in America, or whatever he said in the trailer. It's in America. I mean, America is a multinational country to start off with, but we didn't get too much of that from the trailer that, hey, there's going to be different languages and stuff. Tristan, you have any thoughts? You've been quiet. Maybe we just talked too much.
I'm still alive. No, I mean, you know my thoughts on this game. I wasn't too excited about it before. It looked pretty cool. I'll give it that. It has almost like a Ghost in the Shell vibe for me. But there's no gameplay, nothing like that. So I'll just keep an eye on it. I'm like in the neutral zone for this. Did I miss out on something? Like, was I in a coma? I don't understand why people are so excited.
It's a CG Projekt Red game. They've done great products so far, and I don't know.
I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, CD Projekt Red, and then when's the last time someone's done a good cyberpunk setting game? I mean, you can maybe point to Deus Ex.
Yeah, I would say the newest entries into Deus Ex would be close to the Cyberpunk universe.
But then Deus Ex kind of has its own look and feel to the games, especially...
Right, exactly.
There's always the lethal, non-lethal route, and while I highly anticipate that Cyberpunk will have the same, you can either go kill people or not kill people, CD Projekt Red's games are a lot more mature and violent and all that jazz, whereas Deus Ex is more of Adam Jensen's a good guy and he tries to avoid conflict depending on how you want to play him.
Yeah. And I think you'll ultimately go into the same kind of plot where you'll have some sort of overall conspiracy, things like that, and you'll deal with them. Yep.
I'm interested to see how CD Projekt Red will tackle guns. They've never done a game with guns in them before.
Yep, that's what I'm really curious about, because crossbow combat in Witcher 3 was a bit janky, to say the least.
One of the things where I wanted them to answer it this trailer, but they didn't, is this game going to be first person or third person, or can you switch between the two? Because Witcher 3, as we all know, was all third person.
Yep.
So, that'll be interesting to see. I hope they allow the option to switch between both.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Give people more options, and of course you can just assess situations much easier when you have two different viewpoints.
Yep. I hope they also included this is just me dreaming now, I hope they do a thing like Deus Ex where you can stealth around and do things too, like buy a cloaking augment or something.
Oh yeah, you can definitely do that. That's something that's been in the Cyberpunk lore. Mm-hmm.
I think, Tristan, to go back to your question, why are people so excited? I think just the setting itself is a really cool one that not very many people have not attempted, and there are very few that have pulled it off, and I would say the only one that's pulled it off successfully is probably Deus Ex.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say Cyberpunk is just Deus Ex off rails, where you can just get augments that are completely crazy.
And I like a little how you're not law enforcement. So we learned about the character. It's apparent that you're not a law enforcement, while Adam Jensen was law enforcement. So there's sort of obviously you could kill people as Adam Jensen, but this one is a very more morally ambiguous game, and where you don't have a duty in your job to do the right thing.
Isn't he a contract killer or something?
He does contracts. I don't know if he's a contract killer. I know in the description on the website it said the game begins with you starting your first contract.
I see. It says
I don't know
he's a hired gun.
Oh, okay. Maybe he's a contract killer then. But maybe is he killing for good or is he killing for bad? I don't know.
Killing for money. That's the best
right?
kind.
Like, could he be killing big corporate leadership people that are doing bad things? I don't know.
That'll be up to you, maybe.
Meanwhile, Deus Ex is, you need to kill the terrorist. And it's like, well...
What if I'm the terrorist?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I never asked for this.
FBI is now tracking our podcast.
Oh, no, not again. Was there a...
Alright, so I think that's probably what we'll all cover majorly, but of course there was plenty of other things shown. We had Halo Infinite shown, Dying Light 2, Just Cause 4, Forza Horizon 4, Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. That's a big one for me. I love seeing that. So finally the West is getting the PS3 edition that came out only in Japan, had a lot more voice acting and a lot more of the content that had to be cut just due to time constraints and things like that.
We got literally 30 seconds of Battlefield 5, what EA was hyping up all day yesterday.
Yeah, we got that. Nordly's war story still happening as a single-player campaign.
Nordly.
I guess we've established she's a Norwegian soldier during the Nazi occupation of Norway, so there you go.
We got Battletoads.
Battletoads is apparently getting some sort of a 2.5D reboot. There you go.
4K textures.
Yep, 4K textures. That'll really pop. So the things I guess we can touch on a little bit more that they also showed was Sekiro Shadows Die Twice with FromSoft. Partnered with Activision this time, which is pretty interesting. It's a samurai action game, apparently. We don't quite know the setting, if it's like a mythological Japan or what, but
I mean, there's like giants and stuff, so there's like there's some big boys. There's some big boys in there.
Yeah, there are big guys, but Crackdown 3, we actually got quite a bit of a gameplay teaser, I guess, with Terry Crews, of course, being Isaiah Jackson, I guess, as an in-game character. Kind of showed off some of the guns and powers. They had kind of a silly duck rocket launcher kind of deal going on. Showed a lot of things that were kind of in previous Crackdown titles, like cars that can drive up walls. Things like that. Typical things you would expect from the previous Crackdown titles. And then, I think everyone got baited by the teaser trailer for Session Period, which everyone thought was Skate 4, but well, I think it's good we're at least getting a skating game, don't you guys think?
So judging from the Twitter reactions we've been getting, half the people seem to be really angry. And the other half seem to be kind of in denial and just being like, you know what, we'll just call this Skate 4. We'll play it as is and we'll just call it Skate 4.
I think an open world skate game would be cool.
I definitely think so. It would be really great to see a multiplayer skating game, I think. I'd love to see it, and I don't see a reason to discount this just because it's not Skate 4. Could definitely be a great skating title, but we'll have to wait to see. That was your shotgun approach to the Microsoft conference, but what do you guys want to rate this one? Let's go with you first, Tristan.
So, like Alex said, I don't think we're doing the conference justice. Like, it was actually very long, and there were a lot of stuff. We were, like, scrambling to write down all the information.
Right, yeah. I think this was just under an hour, 30 minutes.
For me, personally, like, compared to last year, compared to EA, and maybe even Bethesda that happened afterwards, I would say this, Microsoft did an amazing job. I would say a solid A-. only because they did not spend enough time on a couple of the games that we really want to learn about. But overall, they showed really great software. There wasn't much downtime, and I actually enjoyed it a lot.
Albert?
I'm going to give them a B+. I thought it was a really good press conference. I think the number one thing lacking is the Xbox first-party titles were a little weak on the weaker end. We got Gears, we got Forza, but
Halo.
They spent we got a teaser for Halo. We didn't really get a Halo game, but we got a lot of Forza, which is a big series for them. But I'm not interested in Forza at all. Maybe it's just personal, but they did a super awesome job showing all the third-party games and looking in 4K and things like that. So solid B+, almost an A-, but they just needed a little more on their first-party end to bump them up to the A range, in my opinion.
Yeah, so for myself, I think I would have to go with a B+. It's just the pacing was almost too frantic, in my opinion. Like Tristan was saying, they were just hitting game after game in a lot of places, and I really would have liked them to just stop and kind of talk about these games a bit more than just kind of show a trailer, then just walk on to the next one, just not going to say anything about it. Because many times these trailers just did not tell you a whole lot. Like Sekiro, we just did not really get anything more other than the kind of extended gameplay trailer they showed. So we really don't know what the approach is for FromSoft. Of course, saw a lot of games I wanted to see. Devil May Cry 5, Tales of Vesperia. But yeah, they did a lot of good third-party support as well. So I really do think that Microsoft did a really great conference this year.
I feel like this year is going to be, like we said, Alex, you and I both said B+, could have seen a little more. I feel that next year's they're going to get an A. I feel that they've announced all these 2019 games, and next year, depending on when these games release, or some of them are delayed, they'll have a lot more to talk about, and they can go a little more in depth while still covering a wide variety of games that people are interested in.
Right, yeah, that's perhaps what they did is, they're just looking to the horizon a bit.
And I feel that they were scared of what people said last year, that they brought nothing. Unanimously, everyone said last year Xbox had a horrible conference. That the X kind of didn't hit as hard as they wanted to, and they pretty much had almost no games. So this year, they don't have to worry about the hardware. It was all about the games.
And they brought it. I thought they did pretty well.
Yeah, I don't agree. They brought a lot of games. I only rated them down because their first-party offerings were not as strong as they could have been. But they did announce they bought 4 or 5 different studios, so Microsoft first-party studio is going to be pumping out a lot more.
Okay, so I think that's about all we have to wrap up the Microsoft conference. We'll move on to Bethesda now. This was a bit of a weird opening. They decided to open up with a kind of a snide joke towards Walmart, and then they were about to do a trailer for Rage 2, and then suddenly Andrew WK just walks on stage and he asks us if we're feeling the rage, and then he just goes into a song. He does a full song. Alright. But thankfully, it ended eventually. We got a very tall Scandinavian man from Avalanche, who are the developers doing Rage 2. And we got a pretty decent demo of kind of showing off vehicle combat and in-engine stuff. I guess it was technically a pre-alpha footage. I don't know how much that claim means anything, but I guess we'll go into it. What did you guys think of what we saw here?
First of all, that music bit, that literally made me angry. I was so confused, and I know we were running short on time. We're trying to get all our content out, and this garbage is happening. Sorry. So getting that out of the way, I thought the trailer itself was really good. It was very hectic. Lot of movement, a lot of confusing cuts or teleportation or something.
Right. Yeah, they were just kind of cutting through the demo level.
I see, but it looked very exciting. It looked very run and gun, I would say. I would definitely check it out, but there's not too many features that they went over, so I'm still a little hesitant. But it looked exciting.
Yeah, the vehicle combat, I don't think I'm quite sold on it yet. It looked like it's kind of something to do while you're going from point A to B. But it might be expanded on a bit more. Maybe you can customize your vehicle, things like that. If you can get your own vehicle. You just kind of seem to carjack things right now. But, yeah, gunplay looked pretty cool. Apparently you have, like, these nano powers that you can pick up, various abilities to, like, launch enemies by either shoving them or, like, throwing grenades that kind of make them gravitate towards each other. So I think there might be quite a bit of fun that will be had with the weapons that they present to us in this game that will make it kind of stand out among shooters and keep you always thinking of what you can do to have fun.
Yeah, I agree. I like the tone they're taking with it. It's a much wackier vibe. They turned the craziness level dial thing up to a 10 out of 10. I agree with Alex. I'm not sold on the vehicle combat. They just showed locking on and shooting missiles as like the only form of combat. The premise, I mean, not too sold on that. Just asteroid hit Earth.
Yeah, asteroid hit Earth. It becomes a Mad Max. Yeah.
Yeah, became Mad Max fighting mutants. But, I mean, it doesn't need to be crazy. You think of other games that I've loved in the past that are sort of these crazy shooter gallery type games. For instance, Borderlands.
Yeah.
Just treasure hunting on a planet. It's like, alright.
Yeah, it definitely felt kind of Borderlands-like, just without all the memes in it. That just seemed to be the one thing lacking, other than, I guess, the cheeky selling off the collector's edition while inside the trailer.
What was that?
Yeah, but that was interesting, but yeah. So there you go, collector's edition announced for it.
It looks really good, too. It's it's id, right? What do you expect?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I guess id and Avalanche, those both of them together, but...
Yeah, it's interesting that Avalanche is working on this, because they're working on Just Cause 4 also, aren't they? Yeah, so they got a lot on their plate, but, you know, they've shown off with Mad Max that they can hang with the best of them.
I was thinking that it might be id who does the first-person shooter, and Avalanche might be focusing more on the vehicle combat because they did Rage.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe they're doing some of the story as well, who knows? But yeah, I guess one little extra tidbit, it will be a seamless open world, they said, so no load zones, I guess, other than the initial one.
Vehicles, I feel the vehicles, the loading zones in Borderlands, as a good example, broke up the gameplay a lot.
The instance gameplay of Borderlands, you had to kind of go to the portal and sit at the next load screen. So yeah, that's kind of something you mostly expect of games nowadays, I think, when they're open world, is hopefully there's minimal loads. But yeah, we'll expect to see more of that, because they gave us a release date of spring 2019, so that's right around the corner, so we'll see what they bring to us. Other than that, we got Doom Eternal, also from id Software. I guess they're going right into the sequel, but it's a Hell on Earth is what they've told us, but other than the kind of trailer cutscene, we didn't really get much more than that.
I mean, I think we can kind of brainstorm and anticipate what's going to come out of Doom. I played the reboot, and I really loved it. It ended on a cliffhanger, so we knew that it was going to have a sequel eventually. I don't know why it's called Eternal. We'll obviously see in the game. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're getting that, but of course it's Doom, so you're just going to rip and shred. I think that's going to be the premise of the game. Yep, so we'll be seeing more of that at QuakeCon in August. But I guess we'll go into the meat and potatoes of the Bethesda conference. Now, we had Fallout 76. I guess originally we were just kind of treated to the Todd Howard canned monologue of basically his comedy routine that he had.
It was great, all right? I loved it.
Skyrim on Alexa and Samsung Fridge.
Yeah, Key did a very good Skyrim skit where they were just playing Skyrim on just basically everything. Lexica was going to hold our burdens. It was fantastic. And Todd acknowledged a lot of it sometimes just doesn't work. A lot of his other memes he said, so.
Oh no.
It was just something for fans, and yeah, they did good on that.
I am sworn to carry your burdens.
My Thane. But,
My Thane.
Okay, so Fallout 76. Basically, this was... The lore is that you're in this vault that was built to celebrate the 300-year anniversary of the founding of the United States. And I guess you spend 25 years waiting in that vault for the Reclamation Day, which is the day the vault opens. And, yeah, that's basically it. You just wait, and then you go out.
We actually got a good question on Twitter, asking why does West Virginia look so green compared to the other games in the series when this is literally right after the war?
That's a good question.
I mean, it's Fallout, so it depends what got hit by the missiles, right?
I see.
I mean, you think of the past couple of games, you've got Boston, which is a large metropolitan center, which in a nuclear war would probably be targeted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the capital Wasteland, which was obviously the capital.
Yeah, so that obviously got nuked. And then New Vegas, where it's a desert, so there's not much out there in the first place. And as we saw, a little sneak preview, this is where some of the U.S. missile bases were, so it was a little more top secret of an area, I would assume.
So yeah, Todd announced that there were new features for the engine. I guess environmental, weather systems apparently will be able to happen in the distance. And lighting will be a bit better. Overall, to me, it looked mostly like the Gamebryo engine still, just beefed up a little bit with basically what you can do with mods nowadays with Skyrim and Fallout. But I guess it's cool that it's baked into the system right then and there. So some of the big features that they announced is, one, this is going to be a multiplayer experience. I guess called an MMO, but it's going to be only a couple dozen players rather than hundreds of players. It is a wasteland, so you aren't expecting a whole lot. And with this, it brings a lot of interesting things. So you can team up with people, or you can do some sort of PvP, and I guess just run around and shoot people's arms off.
I called it PKing.
Yeah, player killing,
that
PvP.
Entire video was so gruesome. I was just freaking out. I was like, can I tweet this out?
Yeah, there were just blimps exploding everywhere.
There was that guy with the blunderbuss pistol who just shot the guy's arm and then walked up to his head and blew his brains out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's just kind of the gratuitous violence I guess they've tried to push with Fallout, and they've just kept with it, kind of making it even crazier as they've gone on with these new 3D titles. But yeah, the quests are said to take place in 6 distinct regions, which makes me kind of confused if we're going to be are those the instanced areas of this open world? Are we going to be walking through portals to get to these areas, or what? I'm not sure what they meant by that.
I think they showed a map briefly, and it seems to be all connected. I would think that Todd would not want to put, loading walls.
Right. That was what I was thinking too, but I don't know. He made a weird point where it's 6 distinct regions.
I think regions, they just meant the style of the landscape. So a urban area, a woodsy area, maybe a military area, a watery area, something like that.
That's most likely what he meant.
And they said it's 4 times bigger than the Fallout 4 map, and that map was already really, really big.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking 4 times the size, oh man, it's going to take an hour to walk across that map.
Yeah, he gave other details, apparently it'll be 16 times as detailed with textures and stuff as it was in Fallout 4. I don't know. It's Todd speaking, so I don't know how truthful the statement is.
It just works.
Yeah, it just works. If you see that mountain, you can climb it.
You see that thunderstorm over there?
Mm-hmm.
You can walk right to it. It'll get you wet. I think the most exciting thing, or the thing that blew my mind, was when the nuke went off, and I was like, oh my, we're all like, what the hell's happening? And then Todd explained that there's nuke sites on the map, right?
Yeah, there's nuke sites, and apparently you can just fight over them for control, and I guess they left the launch keys all just waiting for you or something. So you can
Scattered
just
around on the bodies.
Choose anywhere on the map and let loose. Shoot a missile. Who cares? YOLO.
Imagine you're just sitting there and you see it slowly coming toward you, and you're just like, well, goodbye, base. See ya.
But I guess the one thing I don't like about this is we'll probably see no, like, landscape distortion or anything when they're actually hit by a nuke. So, I don't know. It's kind of a gimmicky feature to me right now.
There'll be a little bit. They said when a nuke lands, there'll be higher level monsters that like show up in the area that you can loot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there'll be a system where, say, all the trees go away and they slowly grow back.
Mm-hmm.
That would be like I wish they had that. We don't know if they don't have it or not, so we can't say they don't have it, but something tells me they won't have it.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it. Then I guess some other stuff. They said the big thing is, because it's a multiplayer game, we were all expecting to be peer-to-peer. I think that was a unanimous thing. But Todd assures us that it's going to be dedicated servers for now and forever. So that means we won't have to deal with weird router issues or anything like that. We'll just connect to the server and we'll be dandy. As we can shoot, we can do emotes to each other, we can...
Photo mode, take some selfies.
Use those emotes, those new emotes. / thumbs up. I'm interested in the dedicated server part. In, do you like claim a server with your friends? Because, or is it when one of you starts up your game, it'll have your world in it, and then it chooses some dedicated server to host it off of, and then all your friends join that server?
He said that, like, you'll never choose a server. I think that's what he said at one point. Which really concerns me, because as much as I love this nuke feature, I really don't want to play in public servers with random people where, you know, you can nuke each other. So I would much prefer private servers.
I think you'll be able to lock your game.
I really hope so.
Invite-only servers, essentially.
Yeah, and I feel the nuke sites are to promote kind of this PvP control point area kind of thing, where you're trying to fight for control of this missile, but I'm not sure how that's going to be working out when there's only like 12 people max on a map, but I'm sure Bethesda's got some sort of plan to make that work out.
Yep, just let the players fix it.
Nothing a few years of mods won't do.
With a multiplayer-only game, they said you can play it single-player, but this is obviously not a traditional single-player experience. I highly doubt, do you guys think there's going to be a main quest at all?
Oh, there has to be. I think so.
It sounded like they were planning to have one. Like, it sounded like your overseer was going to give you quests to do. So I think that's what's going to be intended as the main quest.
Are they just quests where you go around the world, though, where you have to go to another zone and do this task, or is there actually going to be a story to this?
I think they said the overseer sends you out to the nuke site. So my guess is that the main line will end, and then you'll get access to, like, you know, getting the nukes or something.
So how does multiplayer work with a story? Because wouldn't multiple people trying to be doing the same thing? Or are we assuming that everyone's from your vault? So you're all trying to do the same thing either way. So if you kill each other doing the same thing, it doesn't matter.
That's how it was presented, that you're all residents of Vault 76 that go out in the world.
Okay, so you're all going for this. The Overseer told you all the same goal, so you're fighting over that goal.
Because remember, this was called a MMO, so I guess we're all following the same quest line. We're just all at different parts of it.
It might be like Final Fantasy XIV, where they instance you for like quest stuff.
That might very well be what they do. Like, I guess buildings are basically dungeons in the Fallout universe for Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4. So, yeah, I think that's what they'll end up doing, but they said it's going to be releasing in November 14th, which is really, really close. I don't know if anyone was really expecting to be releasing that soon.
And it comes with a collector's edition with a map that glows in the dark.
Yep.
I'm going to have to bleep that out.
Todd Howard didn't bleep himself out.
No, he never bleeps himself out.
I had to say it word for word, man.
Todd's got a potty mouth, but it also comes with, I guess, a functional T-51 power armor helmet, which will have a functioning headlight, and I guess some sort of voice modulation. So if you've been an aspiring Fallout cosplay, you can now cheat and have your own helmet for whatever the collector's edition costs.
Cool.
Oh, and they said they're introducing a beta, right? Because this is online and they're scared.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So they're going to be doing beta applications in the near future, and I guess sign up for that if you want to try your hand at playing Fallout 76.
I gotta try that out, man.
a beta version of a Bethesda game, which literally means it might not boot up. Mm-hmm. Or it might just destroy your computer.
Hey, Todd said it, man. Sometimes it doesn't just work, okay?
He acknowledges it, so he's not legally liable anymore. Alright, so moving on. We got some Elder Scrolls news. A new mobile game, actually. Elder Scrolls Blades. So, this is a interesting title where we're kind of seeing what was called console-level graphics on a mobile platform. Basically, what it is, it's procedurally generated dungeons, and you kind of just run through them and swing and slash at things, cast spells.
They said some of the dungeons were handcrafted.
I think they kind of presented this the wrong way, because at the end they said they're trying to like put this on every platform so you can play cross-platform. It'll be super cool. But then I think for the first like 80% of this, we were kind of zoning out because we really weren't excited.
Yeah, you hear mobile game and you just instantly turn off.
I mean, maybe I'll try this out for 10 minutes, but you're like, long run, I'm going to forget about this in 6 months.
Well, they seem to be using a lot of the graphical assets from Skyrim. I noticed the Elven helmet was literally the Elven helmet from Skyrim, so...
The Daedric armor was also the same.
Yeah, so... And a lot of the enemy models were direct rips, so... Easy content, but yeah. I guess it's the generated dungeons, which is... the Abyss mode, as they called it, is a roguelike. It's just kind of see how far you can go, get more treasure as you go. Just keep repeating that ad nauseum. And then they also will have an arena mode, which apparently you can do 1v1 PvP against someone else. I'm not sure how Elder Scrolls PvP game will go, but I guess
that one sounds the worst.
Yeah, I'm gonna be playing on my phone against someone on their PC. I'm sure it'll be a completely fair fight.
But what about someone playing VR, huh?
Now, what if someone's playing portrait and you're playing landscape? Is that gonna change the dynamics? One's using one hand and you're using two? That's a 100% increase in hands.
Yeah, they could be drinking coffee in the other hand.
Mm-hmm.
Did he actually say degenerate?
He did.
Oh my god.
Dude, he said, what are you guys thinking, you degenerates?
Oh my god.
Todd's a vindictive old man, but...
He gave the history of E3, too.
25 years, man. 25 years.
He gave us the whole history of E3.
But yeah, the other feature covered was the town, which is going to be your hub for the game. And basically, you go there for your story, cutscenes, and quests, content. I guess you can upgrade your town, make it look cooler. Friends can come over and visit your town. Not quite sure how that feature's going to work out.
This is Animal Crossing Skyrim edition.
What confused me about this is are you like the mayor of the town? Why are you doing all the construction?
Because you can Fusro Da. Actually, no, they didn't even... You're not even dragging... You're a Blades member.
Yeah, you're no Dovahkiin. You can't do nothing.
Dovahkiin.
But, yeah, so as you do quests, you level up, get experience, and apparently you can spend that to upgrade your town, get more quests, repeat, mobile game platform. And it's coming for free this fall, so...
What type of microtransactions things are going to be in it?
Cosmetics?
I gotta get my Link DLC.
What if they're like, you're building your town, spend 500 septims to boost the build speed?
Oh yeah,
boy.
There'll probably be that, yeah. I'd expect the standard mobile game time constraint stuff.
I'm fine with that, honestly. If they're releasing this for free, as long as there's PvP, so you don't want to make it pay to win, but they could if they wanted to, because it's a mobile game.
No, it's not a mobile game, man. It's gotta be on every platform.
Okay.
I'm sure it'll be out for Engage anytime, so... and then... I don't know if we have anything else other than that for that game.
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. So then, Todd wasn't done with just Elder Scrolls Blades. He had a couple other things up his sleeve. One was a confirmation of kind of what was, I guess, technically leaked. Maybe it was just kind of a rumor mill at this point. But a new next-gen single-player game IP from Beth. Starfield. we got a very small trailer of just kind of something dropping off of a planet and a very pretty satellite sitting in space. Nothing more than that. What do you guys think of that, huh?
Wow.
Skyrim in space? Are we doing it?
I think I read somewhere that it's a first-person shooter?
Yeah, I would definitely expect that more than a, melee weapon or anything like that.
Yeah, so Fallout in space?
Well,
I would take a Mass Effect style game from Bethesda.
Skyrim with guns in space.
Skyrim with guns in space with, nanomachine magic powers like they had in Mass Effect, so, yeah, I can get behind it, but of course we don't have anything. That's just kind of something that's down the pipeline. And then I guess the final thing Todd ended up teasing was Elder Scrolls 6 is actually going to be a thing.
Did he say it's in development? Did he ever say it's in development, or was it just, hey, we've heard you, it'll be a thing?
We've written this down in our company somewhere.
Yep. And we made a stock green landscape for the text to be over, so this is Elder Scrolls 6.
That proves it's not Skyrim, though, because there's no snow.
I was worried at first, because it was kind of showing something that looked like snow, and I was like...
It could be Skyrim post-apocalyptic.
Skyrim now with seasons.
There we go. Yeah, that was a new buzzword of this conference, wasn't it?
Putting seasons in your games.
Seasons. Oh, boy.
No, but for real, I think this is a good announcement to just put on the table, because with Blades, everyone's like, no Elder Scrolls. Mm-hmm. And for the past few years, they've been saying that Elder Scrolls Online is the current incantation of Elder Scrolls. So, with every new release of a DLC like Somerset Isles, all the Elder Scrolls fans are like, looks like we're not getting a single-player Elder Scrolls game. But this is them going out saying, hey, we're not saying how far in development this is. We're not even saying it started development, but there will be an Elder Scrolls 6.
Yep, and I think that was a very important thing to state is, yeah, we're getting it.
It's been a year overdue, I think. I think they should have done something like this last year, but just having that confirmation is good to hear for fans.
Mm-hmm. Todd must have been working on his monologue a bit more. He couldn't do it last year.
He didn't even show up last year, man.
Yeah, exactly. He's sitting backstage trying to work out his final jokes.
It was outside. He couldn't face the harsh outdoors. Their press conference was.
He's still researching all his memes. All right. I think that's all we got for Bethesda.
Yeah, you can, we'll be putting all the announcements in our highlights article, but we just want to go over the big ones here.
Mm-hmm. And then, I guess, we'll cover the very brief Devolver...
Can we rate?
Oh, we have to rate. I forgot. We need to rate it first. So, Albert, go ahead and give Bethesda your rating right now.
I'm giving Bethesda a solid B minus. I changed to a minus at the last second. They had, I think, here's the thing, alright? They could have shortened this press conference by half an hour, and I would have made it a B. Or maybe even a B+. But the fact that they wanted to show what all their studios were doing, and like, hey, we made a prop hunt game mode for Prey, and hey, we did this on this team. Everyone wanted just Fallout 76 and Rage 2 at the least, and they dragged it out really long. So it took away from their score. But I think that the games they did show, like particularly Rage 2 and Fallout 76, they're looking really cool. I'm interested in both of them. If we're going back to packing or lacking, I think both those games are packing right now. Blades, a little lacking, but, you know. And then seeing the new IP at the end was a little bump. We didn't affect my score too much because we have no idea what these games are going to be. But little bit of a bump.
As for me, I'm actually B- as well. For the first 15 minutes, I was legitimately thinking I'm going to give this an F when we record the podcast. Like Albert said, it was kind of long. They spent too much time talking about stuff that we didn't care about, but once we kind of got to the meat, they did a fantastic job with Fallout 76. Blades, I feel like they should have done at the beginning with like, Elder Scrolls Online and what's the card game? Whatever the card game is, Legends. I think the biggest bump that I gave the conference was actually from the end. I feel like I tweeted this out today, but I feel like we're kind of at the end of video game eras, right? Like all these games that have been stuck in development hell for a really long time are finally coming out. So a lot of gamers are looking forward to what might be coming out like 2020, 2021. And I think Todd kind of set Bethesda up in a really good way, showing gamers that, they're actually working on new stuff other than Skyrim for your fridge. So I thought that was very exciting. So that's what bumped it up to B-.
I think ultimately I'll have to go with a C+ on this one. There's a lot of fat to this conference, the musical performance, a lot of the downtime and just all the clapping going on that really just kind of made this conference drag on a bit. They did cover a lot of information during their games, which I enjoyed a lot. Like I said, during the Microsoft one, they just kind of shotgun through everything. Bethesda took a lot more time, sometimes too much time on certain games, to at least give you a lot of information on what's going to be inside there, what are we going to see, how are you going to play it. I think that's a really good thing that they did. The Elder Scrolls Blades, I don't know. It seems like a really basic thing to me, but of course, understanding what it's kind of set up for, it is what it is. Fallout 76, I think is pretty cool. What they're doing. It's kind of maybe a beta for what we'll see, perhaps even implemented into Elder Scrolls 6. So I think that's pretty exciting to see what they do with the system. I think it's a very rudimentary system that they're doing in 76. It's just kind of more a beta test than anything. Doom Eternal is really just an announcement of announcement. I didn't really take as much more of that. And that just kind of detracts from me. It just was kind of pointless. And then, yeah, I think it was really good that they finally covered that Elder Scrolls 6 is going to happen. Because everyone was asking them forever when the next Elder Scrolls is, when the new Fallout is. So just get it out there. Let people know that you are actually working on it instead of just calling the MMO the next, or the new iteration of that series.
Todd Howard saved this press conference. If his 30-minute segment at the end was not here, this conference would get like an F from me.
Yeah, I think Todd definitely did carry the show. I think maybe he spent a little too much time on the random history factoids and but the jokes he brought were good.
I loved the jokes. I loved the humor element that he brought. That was
it's very self-referential. If you've been around the internet at all, you'd know them. So it was nice to hear him.
And it's good to show some publishers saying, hey, internet, we read what you post, what you're memeing about, all this. We know we can improve, but we'll put in a little joke here to say, hey, we're listening to you guys.
Yeah, he acknowledges his faults, but ultimately it'll probably rely a lot on the community still to fix a lot of the bugs in their games.
What do you mean? It doesn't work just out of the box?
Bethesda product working out of the box? Yeah. But anyways, I guess we'll move on from that. The final conference of the night, it was only about 20 minutes long, exactly. The Devolver Digital press conference. They did another pre-recorded affair. Just kind of ran it short and sweet. Went right through it. It actually extended the lore of what was on last year. So if you remembered that, you carried on the story, and I guess they're setting up for E3 2020.
To be fair, we were like decompressing from the Bethesda one just so we can relax. And Albert said, hey, we'll just watch it for 20 minutes. And it was exactly 20 minutes. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was nice to watch, honestly. It was really laid back. It was just kind of whatever. They're apparently selling their own Bitcoin now. It changes price every 5 minutes. You can go out there and find
coin,
it.
Okay?
It's loot box coin. So yeah,
people next year are going to be like, so I heard there's the third Devolver Digital conference. Do I need to watch the first two in order to understand this one? And you're going to be like, yep, Yep, you need to know the lore.
Only real Devolver Digital fans will understand this reference.
Exactly.
I guess the big takeaway of this conference is that Devolver is bringing over FromSoft's magnum opus that was originally only released in Japan because it used the emblem of the presidential, or the emblem of the US president. So they couldn't bring it over for whatever weird legal reasons, but Metal Wolf Chaos XD edition for
XD edition.
Basically all the modern consoles, and it's just a remastered version of the old Metal Wolf Chaos game. If you've never seen this game, look it up on YouTube. It's got so many meme lines. It's in full English and everything, even though it was released only in Japan. It's fantastic. You can check it out at MechAmericaGreatAgain.com.
Check a look. Check a look.
It's definitely worth checking out. This game's a hoot, and it's from FromSoft. If you don't remember who FromSoft is, they do the Dark Souls games. So you can see their humble beginnings of some of their earlier works. And you'll wonder how they made a successful series after that, probably. But, yeah. You guys ain't got anything else to say about this? Are we even going to grade Devolver Digital?
I give Devolver an A.
I'm giving it an S. Okay?
S.
It improved upon the original. They actually announced games. There's continuity and canon. I mean, I'm excited for next year. So they hit all the points.
And I think they did a better job than last year. Last year, the humor was good, but it got a little long at points where they would talk 3 or 4 minutes about some small gag. This year was 2 to 3 minutes tops, usually just 1 to 2 minutes, and then they'd show a game. And then they moved to... It was still absurd in a lot of moments with a lot of gore and weird stuff happening, but I like the throwbacks, too, from last year.
Yeah, I have to give this conference an S just so we have an A, S, and a S.
That's a Devolver joke right there.
Oh, yeah. Boy.
There you go. It was a good conference. I liked it. Short and sweet, had some good humor to it. Can't ask for much more. They got through the games that they wanted to show real quick, real easy. Showed off a lot of gameplay for those games, which I think is important. Yeah,
that second Pablo game was crazy.
They call me Pedro.
Not Pedro.
The banana
sorry.
one?
The banana one.
Oh, man.
Where he throws the heads at people.
My friend Pedro. We'll get the name right someday for the game. But yeah, it looked really sweet. It was kind of a parkour action, 2D shooter game.
And we'll obviously be picking up next year to continue the story of Devolver Digital's press conference TV show.
The enduring saga.
The anime. Live action anime.
Yep.
Which doesn't even make sense.
Who cares? Okay, I think we're going way off base at this point. We're going full Devolver, but I think that wraps it up for the second day of press conferences. How are you guys feeling right now?
Man, that Microsoft one, whew.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that.
That was an absolute marathon.
Yeah, and tomorrow, oh man, it's not going to be as many games, I think, at a specific press conference, but we've got Square Enix, Ubisoft, PC Gaming Show, and Sony tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be a doozy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really worried for tomorrow, because today was extremely exhausting for all of us, and tomorrow's worse. But at the same time, I think it's only going to get better from here, so I'm super excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what we're going to get from Ubisoft. Square Enix, I got a soft spot for them, even though they never release anything on time. And then, of course, Sony, it's going to be doing their conference way in the evening.
Kojima!
Yeah, I think Kojima will be appearing with Death Stranding. Maybe we'll actually see gameplay this time. Or 30-minute trailer, who knows?
I'll take it.
Another baby. But,
Twins.
So yeah, you can check out our highlights article on our website, viewportgaming.com. We're also going to be live tweeting those conferences. And you can catch us at Viewport Gaming on Twitter. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See ya!
Goodbye!